Hey everybody, this is Nova Polite with the Ladies of the Chains podcast.
Mrs. Kim Janola, also with the Ladies of the Chains.
And we're here at the 2018 Discraft Ledgestone Open Round 1 FPO coverage, starting on hole 4 at Northwoods. Catrina Allen first up, showing the hyzer line, skipping into circle 1.
Hyzer line is definitely the way to go. It's going to take you straight to the basket, so long as you don't go in early and hit the shul on the left.
That is correct. From the tee pad, you can see there's what looks like a tunnel shot straight up the middle, but it's too easy to fade to the left if you take it. Hailey King also opts for the hyzer line, and it looks like that's gone into circle 1. Rounding out the foursome is Paige Bjerkaas. That gets a little wide, catches a branch, and stays out in the fairway. From the fairway, we can see the look into the basket, and Paige is just laying up for her par.
Looks like Catrina went in. Ooh.
Yep, Catrina went in a little early and just catches the basket on the birdie save.
And Paige went long.
Good
save, birdie save from in there.
Definitely, must have been quite a skip on that hard pan that you can see around the basket. Paige Bjerkaas cleans up her par.
We still haven't seen Hailey put out, so she must be
pretty close.
Hard. Yeah.
Oh, there's the disc hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, good start hit for Hailey there.
Catrina Allen cleans up, and we're moving on to the second hole, which will be hole 5. It's a par 4. It's not super long, but there's just really no way to get there in one, so it's got to be par 4.
Yeah, I want to just point out, this is actually a really hard gap to hit. You can either shoot up the gut and go down the left. Saw a couple players take the forehand line around the left and just park at the top, but you're not going to be able to attack the basket unless you have a really, really good flex forehand off the tee.
It's true. For the most part, the right-hand backhand, like Paige Bjerkaas just threw there, settling in at the left-hand side of the ridge is the way to go. As you can see, the basket is now down a hill and across a creek. And from the right-hand side, like Hailey is showing, there's just no easy way down there. That forehand gets a look at the basket, but it doesn't quite get to the green.
Yeah, Paige has got an ideal look here. You can see the basket just sitting there across the creek, and if you can hit that landing zone, you've got an easy 3, but it all depends on where your first shot positioned you.
Definitely. Paige Bjerkaas shows how good of a look you can have if you get all the way to the left-hand edge of the end of the ridge. Hailey floating a forehand upshot there. You can see this, the green is not very wide, but the creek that surrounds it is pretty shallow. So if you roll...
Ooh, good run.
What a run. So if you roll off of the green into the creek, you're only standing down about a foot or so, which gives you a putt that looks like this. Outstanding birdie save for Catrina Allen. Paige Bjerkaas lining up. Not quite there. She's going to have to drop in par. That's not going to feel good after that first throw. For a lot of players, a 4 feels really good on this hole, but I think for touring pros, it feels like a must birdie.
Yeah. You can see the spotter up there on the hill. It gives you some idea of what you would have to do from the tee to attack the basket.
That's correct. There's not a lot of OB on this course. Most of these spotters are just so you don't lose a disc. Hole 6, third hole of the day. Catrina Allen firing straight down the way. It's about 320 feet. You want to just clear that last leafy tree on the left, and you want to get past it and then fade in. Hailey gets a little bit of a late release, catches that tree. That's going to be trouble. Paige Bjerkaas fires an outstanding turnover line. It's coming straight, but it looks like it's carried past the green. It might be around the corner from the circle.
Yeah. Real trouble with attacking the basket on this one is you have a very small, comparatively from the tee window to hit, and you can see it there. You are either going to go in early or, like Paige Bjerkaas did, go long.
Catrina laying up. You can see there's a lot of slope there on the green. It's really easy for a disc to get away from you.
Yeah, Paige not happy with that. She had successfully navigated all of that and just chains out.
Understandably so. This feels like a must birdie. Paige Bjerkaas has no option but to lay up. She had just gone too far around the corner. I guess that can happen when you throw too far. I don't know what that feels like myself. Catrina Allen cleaning up her par. And Hailey dropping in a bogey. At Northwoods, it's really easy for a hole to get out of control in a hurry. It doesn't take much for a must birdie or a must par to suddenly turn into a bogey or even a double bogey.
Yeah, there's about 8 to 9 holes on this course that just one errant tree.
Like that one?
No, not like this one. This one's pretty open. You can scramble very effectively here, but like hole 5, one errant tree kick can really put you in a bad spot, and you're lucky to make your par at that point, let alone get a birdie.
Definitely. This is hole 7, 270 feet. Nice gentle turnover with a putter or a mid or a forehand, like Hailey's lining up here. Bring you down for what should be a must get 2.
Yeah, unfortunate tree kick there.
Yep, there are 4 guardian trees, and they are very effective at doing what they do.
Tree 9.
Hailey looking for the par save, just nicks off the top band. Paige Bjerkaas coming back from circle's edge.
Good bird.
Definitely.
Yeah, you can't really see it too much, but there is a little bit of a slope on the behind the basket to the left of Hailey there. If you go in too early with your forehand or turnover, you can go down the hill.
That is correct. Paige Pierce also lining up just inside circle's edge. Cans the birdie.
Textbook.
Now, drawing this one up on paper, I would really prefer to be inside about 20 feet where there's no grass at all, but with those guardian trees, that's a bit of an ask. Most of the birdies are going to come at circle's edge. And Catrina taps in her par. Moving on to the 5th hole, which is hole 8. It's about 309 feet straight down this tunnel that's no more than 15-20 feet wide. Bit of a ceiling. It's every bit as hard as it looks.
Yeah. Video makes this hole look long, and
it is.
But it's really hard to really comprehend it unless you're standing on the tee.
It's a very intimidating shot, that's for sure.
And
Catrina Allen actually has found a little bit of a gap on the right-hand side. Once you get down to where that yellow next tee sign is, that leafy stuff is nowhere near as thick as it looks. I'm willing to bet she's in circle 1 or 2.
as we were saying, this is one of those holes that one errant tree kick and you're off the fairway and you're scrambling. If you don't keep it in the fairway or at least get about 3/4 of the way down the fairway, you are looking at a 4 as opposed to a 3.
Paige Bjerkaas coming at it from the left-hand side. Gives it a bit of a run. Not quite. And there's Catrina's tee shot just inside circle 1. She found the gap. Just not quite. Hailey King also on that side.
Good par save.
Definitely.
Yeah, especially considering how early she went in. That was a great scramble.
Definitely. Par is not bad on this hole at all. And Paige Bjerkaas cleans up her par as well, as does Paige Pierce. Move on to hole number 9, our next par 4 of the day.
This hole is brutal. You're going to see the gap as soon as Paige steps up to the tee here. And if you do not make that gap, there is no good out from anywhere on the right or the left.
It's true. I was mistaken, by the way. It's par 3. It just feels like a par 4. It's probably about 150, 200 up to that landing zone that Paige Bjerkaas has just hit. And the left-hand side where she landed is perfect. That'll cut the hole in 2 for a look down to the basket. The right-hand side where Catrina is just thrown into is no good. Nothing good happens over there. And Hailey's tee shot also fights further and further to the right. This is a rough out. Here's something you won't see very often. Paige Pierce pitches out. That's how tough the hole is. From here, the basket is 200 feet. Just need a little turnover to the right. That was a bit early, though.
That's really good out.
Definitely. Good angle control to get it to slide up on the flight plate and land in the middle of the fairway. Hailey.
Yeah.
That forehand was the right play. It looks like it caught just the last tree. That would have coasted up to the circle otherwise. Paige Bjerkaas drifts one gently over the berm that guards the basket. I saw some low shots that slid up to the basket, sort of hit that berm like a ramp, and then settle nicely under the basket. Not a terrible play. Especially if the hole has demoralized you and you're...
Good roll.
Oh, what? Are you kidding me? That's fantastic.
Oh. That was about to be a fantastic putt.
Catrina Allen with a bogey save. Not stoked about that. Paige Bjerkaas knocks in a par, which is... A par feels like a birdie here.
A par feels like a birdie on this hole. I don't think I saw anyone actually get a 2 on this.
It would have to be just some kind of crazy flex forehand that makes it all the way up the hill and then somehow dodges all of the trees. All right, 6th hole. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6 going from white to dark red, looking like a color bar test. Back out in the open, out of the woods. Hole 10, 261 feet. Plays more like 300 because you've got a lot of overhead. Catrina Allen absolutely lacing this turnover shot.
I watched this shot as I was coming up hole 14, and it was just smooth the entire flight, and it was a great throw by Cat.
Paige Pierce with, looks like a putter or a mid on the roller. You could see all that dew fantailing off the disc as it was rolling. It's, what, 10 o'clock in the morning at this point? There's still dew on the grass. This is one of the most moist places I've ever played disc golf. Hailey gets up a little high. That drops down in the fairway, just outside circle 2 for a jump putt. Jumps out of her cap, but doesn't get the birdie.
Yeah, the trees here really make attacking the basket on anything other than, just a low turnover or a low forehand hard. Just the slightest rise on your disc and you're looking at a 3.
Hailey with the long comebacker. Oh, that's just rough to watch. Paige Bjerkaas cleans up her par. Hailey looking at about the same distance comebacker, which is a test of nerves, but does not shy away.
Catrina still has not touched her disc. I mean, it was just a perfect drive.
Absolutely amazing for the drop-in birdie. After 7, moving on to the 8th hole, hole number 11 on the course, 300 feet. A little bit of a ceiling right off the tee box, and then you've got 2 trees, one in the center of the fairway, one over to the right, that really guard the Heiserbaum line.
This hole is deceptively difficult. You're looking at the basket and it's just right there, and the camera angle puts the basket into more view than it really is. But those trees right in front stop anything from bombing in, and you've got a low ceiling off the tee, which prevents you from going too high from the get-go. This is a very, very technical shot, despite how open it looks.
It's true. It plays a lot farther than the 300 feet just because of the amount of power necessary to make it fly so low and so fast and so far. Paige's roller came up short on the tree in the center of the fairway. Her jump putt for birdie fades out a little early. Hailey King's got a much more clear look. Doesn't even want to watch it go in.
Yeah, she knew as soon as that left her hand that wasn't what she wanted.
Catrina Allen showing how you birdie on this hole.
Yeah, that's a great bird. Back to back.
Sorry, I feel like I'm always in your way.
Paige Bjerkaas also with the birdie, much closer to the basket. Oh, that's rough. I never know what to say when it happens in front of me live, and I'm not sure what to say when it happens on video either.
Yeah,
Hailey gets a good par there.
everyone's been there and nobody wants to be there.
It's true. After 8, Catrina Allen and Paige Bjerkaas 2 under, Paige Pierce 3 further back. So the 12th hole on the course, 252 feet. You want to get a nice skip. See that white chalk line for some foot race or bike race? It points the way to the basket. Just throw the disc up the white line, let it curve in, get a skip, get your birdie.
Now, you really need the disc to skip hard here, or at least hold the overstable line as long as it can. You've got trees both to the left and, to the right and above that will prevent you from going in too high.
Catrina Allen with an absolutely terrific touch shot out of the edge of the tree line.
Skipping in really seems to be the way to go.
Hailey coming in from pin high.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, but judge the effort, not the result. That was a terrific putt despite it not going in.
Good birdie for Paige Bjerkaas.
Definitely. Showing what an overstable driver will do, skipping in there like that. Paige Pierce with a terrific out for the par save.
Great cleanup.
And Cat will drop in, as will Hailey. Moving on. After 9, Paige is pulled out, one ahead of Catrina Allen. Hailey King has stopped the bleeding and is still sitting at +5. The 10th hole, hole 13 on the course, Paige Bjerkaas gets up a little bit and drops in the fairway. It's 603 feet. It's short for a par 4, but it would be too long for a par 3.
Yeah, we're going to see one really great throw in just a moment. Not to spoil anything, but
I feel spoiled. Well,
you have to throw a monster forehand or a great turnover to really attack this, and this is what that looks like.
heavens to Murgatroyd, look at that disc go. Dodges all the branches, stays in the center of the fairway. Paige Pierce has more than bisected this hole. She's probably 100 feet from the basket at this point.
That late tree kick did not harm that drive at all. She got most of that 600 feet out of the way on that one shot.
Absolutely. Hailey King with an absolutely terrific upshot that should be just outside circle 1. Really, on a 600-foot hole, the main difference off the tee box is whatever your drive did just affects how far of an upshot you've got. And at the extreme end, if it's too long of an upshot, you don't get a great birdie look. And if it's a fantastic drive, you might even get an eagle look. Paige Bjerkaas gets just a little bit to the left. Hopefully that settled inside the circle. Catrina Allen for the birdie, but catches some branches. Would have been rather nice throw in.
Yeah, but that's typical from Northwoods. A lot of these pins are protected by overhead branches, and you just can't make a high run at it.
It's true. Oh, that's rough. After that Titanic drive, Paige Pierce really felt like this birdie must have been in the bag.
Good par.
Hailey knocks in par as well, extending that string of pars, which is an improvement on the front 9. It's easy for this course to get to a player. And Paige not at all pleased to be tapping in a par.
No, nobody bogeyed that. That's a hole that can get you on unexpectedly if you're not careful.
It's true. Hole 14, par 3. You can play the lazy turnover line.
Chains! But a chain out.
Oh, good heavens. Paige Bjerkaas shows you what an ace run looks like on this hole.
I've never seen a purer backhand line on this hole.
Catrina Allen also goes backhand, but it just doesn't have turn. It stays out in the fairway.
Most players take the forehand line on this one. One of my cards, all 4 of us took forehands. But Paige Bjerkaas was able to attack that with a turnover. It's just a great shot.
Paige Pierce puts the forehand back into the pocket. Should be fairly close to the basket. The most trouble on this hole, to the right edge of the screen, you see a really big evergreen tree. That thing is grabby. If you go in there, you might not even get your par.
No, you don't even want to be behind it. If your forehand crashes in early, you can forget about a birdie.
Yeah, I was super loud.
Right? Paige and Paige cleaning up their tap-in birdies. And Catrina and Hailey cleaning up pars. Basically, if you make it around the corner, you get your birdie. If you stay out in the fairway, you get your par. Moving on, hole 15, 315 feet. Can't quite tell on the camera, but it plays like 400. Got a really low ceiling, and there's a very gentle uphill slope most of the way that's very subtle. You might not even notice it off the tee box, until you wonder why your disc is skidding in the dirt.
And those trees to the left of Paige there are a lot closer than the camera makes them out to be. You've got a low ceiling from the get-go.
Absolutely, you cannot throw high at all.
So not only do you have to throw uphill, you have to keep it below the canopy, and that just makes the shot deceptive.
It's true. A birdie on this hole is actually something of an achievement, despite it being so straightforward looking and literally so straightforward down the fairway.
Another thing you can't really see here is behind the basket there is a gentle slope down to the creek bed. So when you're making your approach, you got to make certain not to overrun it.
Definitely. Paige Pierce lays that up gently, should be sitting next to the basket, does not overrun. Paige Bjerkaas a little bit off to the left. Catrina's got an obstructed look, just can't quite get that putt in.
Pretty much everyone I was playing with at some point in time made Aerosmith or Run DMC comment about the signs that were directing you.
Are you talking about the walk this way signs?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Funny, my card too.
Sorry.
We'll walk this way onto the next hole. Paige Bjerkaas is still 4 under. Catrina Allen at 1 under.
When you get to this hole, it's like a breath of fresh air. This is really the first time you're allowed to rip on the disc.
Absolutely. All the claustrophobia goes away, and the sun's out, the guns are out. It's time for the air show. Or the roller show. Nice thing about the shape of this hole is a backhand roller with an understable disc is going to curl up gently into the hillside for some braking action, just like you saw there.
Yeah. The early shots don't really show you how far away that basket is from the tee. That hill has essentially 2 halves to it, and you can see the dividing line between the hills there. Being on top of the hill isn't I shouldn't say that. Being on top of the hill is great. If you're on the slope of the hill, it makes your upshot very challenging. You kind of want to finish more to the left so you can attack the basket a little bit more directly.
It's true. Hailey shows a really nice forehand touch here, though, playing the slope, and that is quite a slope to nestle up against the basket with an easy uphill putt look. Catrina Allen with... That is actually a very intimidating putt. On the far side, it slopes away and then goes under some trees.
Yeah, and if you look to where Hailey is walking up, if you're on the opposite side of that, if you miss your putt, it's just going down the hill. So anytime you're not attacking the putt from an uphill stance, it gets in your head.
Oh, definitely. Paige Pierce cleans up a very easy birdie. Moving on to probably the most challenging hole on the course. What do you think?
Oh, I didn't play with anyone who liked this course. Or, excuse me, not this course, this hole.
It's a great course.
Yeah, the course is great. Northwood is great, but this hole, I saw a birdie on it, and I don't know how many there were. Jessica Weiss just piped a forehand up this line, and it was one of the greatest shots I've ever watched.
Very nice. Yep, this is par 3, 330 feet. The camera doesn't show it, but this is almost a straight uphill shot, and it is extremely narrow. And halfway up, there's a creek with a little tiny bridge, and it is a rough out. If you only go halfway up the hill, you've actually got a really hard finishing throw just to get up to the green.
Yeah, if you don't make it up to about where the sunlight is hitting the green up there, you are not going to make a... Well, I shouldn't say not. Your chances of getting par are very slim. on either the left or the right, if you hit one of those guardians, you are scrambling hard, and you have basically what you're seeing there for Cat. It's very difficult to try to recover from anything that just doesn't make the initial gap.
It's true. Hailey with a really nice forehand clears the gap. That's going to be up at the top of the hill on the left-hand side. As you can see, Cat is on that right-hand slope, and all she's got is this steeply pitched upshot. From the center of the fairway, Paige Bjerkaas attacks the green, which is farther up the top of the hill than it looks like.
Yeah, because once you make the gap, you're still going uphill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the uphill doesn't stop as soon as you clear those guardians. You still have to go uphill the rest of the fairway.
Paige Pierce with the jump putt just nicks off the basket. Here's Hailey on the green for a bogey. I wish we could get a reverse angle just so you could see how far it is from the basket to the crest of the hill that the players just came up. Because going up and up and up this hill, it feels like the top of the hill is the end of the hole, but it's probably, what, 80, 100 feet from the crest to the basket?
I don't know. It always felt longer than that. I mean,
In emotional terms?
in emotional terms.
I get that. I don't have the stats in front of me, but if I opened up UDisc, I'm willing to bet that there would be some really big numbers on this hole. I think I had one. Seriously, getting away from this hole with 2 pars and 2 bogeys is not terrible. Hole 18, another chance to really air it out. Paige Pierce. Flex drive. Fades out a little early. Goes pretty far to the left. She's going to have to retrace that distance because the basket is to the right. So all that distance that the disc is traveling to the left, you've just got to turn around and go right back to the right.
Yeah. Paige Bjerkaas really hit an ideal spot there. Those 2 lines, which represent actually the single running line we had spoken about earlier. If you can park it in the middle of that, you've got a clean look at the basket. You don't want to be too far to the right, because then you'll have obstructing trees, and too far to the left, you risk going into them.
That is true. You see that chalk line out there? Try and hit it. From the fairway, you can see that the chalk line points the way up to the basket. Catrina comes up just a little bit short outside circle 2. Hailey from the center of the fairway. Absolutely terrific shot.
Man, don't want to go in too deep into the trees, number 1, because it's going to obstruct everything. But number 2, if you clear the trees, the road beyond it is OB.
And third of all, the third tree from the top has a very angry bee living in it. Ask me how I know that.
How do you know that?
There's a very angry bee in there.
Did it chase you away?
No, but it yelled at me. I don't speak bee, but it seemed very unhappy. Paige Bjerkaas just outside the circle, doesn't quite get there. Hailey King from the same distance. Same result.
Yeah, she knew as soon as it left her hand.
Paige Pierce gives it a run.
Look at that.
Textbook.
Was she in circle 2 there, or was she
No.
past it?
No, that was at least 75 feet on that birdie. Yeah, you look at this on paper and you think 660 feet, it's drive out in the open, drive up the hill, tap in your birdie. Not so easy in practice. Okay, 15 holes down, 3 to go. We're headed to hole number 1 for the last 3 holes. These are all in the woods again. Paige Pierce catches a tree, gets a nasty kick off to the left.
This is a very difficult hole to attack, not necessarily because of the gap, which is formidable, but because the basket is situated on a hill. And if you come in too hot, you're going all the way down, and there's nothing to stop it from along the way.
It's true. The ideal play would go about 250 feet straight off the end of the tee pad and then make a right turn.
And a good forehand can attack the basket, but again, don't want to go too deep.
Hailey King sounds pretty pleased with that. Willing to bet that's inside circle 1. Paige Pierce with an absolutely terrific upshot. That is on the precipice of the reverse slope, which is behind the basket. Another foot and that would have been rolling away. Paige Bjerkaas does the same thing, also daring that hillside.
Yeah,
As does Catrina.
They're safe up top, it looks like. It's
true, but
you can see there, if you clear that gentle slope, it's just straight shot down.
It's true. This is a really tough birdie. Par is just fine on this hole.
Yeah, par feels good on this.
Two holes to go. Paige Bjerkaas still holds the lead, 3 under. Paige Pierce nipping at her heels, just 1 behind. Coming up on hole 17, or hole 2.
It looks obstructed on the right, but there is a very good hyzer line. You just got to make certain you don't hit the last trees and you'll park right under the basket. I'm kind of surprised more players don't attack that line as opposed to going up the gut.
Right. Paige Bjerkaas plays up the middle and catches one of the last trees as well. The basket is on quite a slope. It's not too hard to play into that hillside and get an easy putt, but then subsequently, if the putt misses, for example, if it bounces off the basket, there's a strong chance that'll roll away. Paige Bjerkaas with the jumper, catches the backstop. That'll be a drop-in.
That's a great putt.
Absolutely. Very gutsy play as well. If that hadn't caught the basket, there was nothing behind to stop that disc going another 60 feet. And Paige Bjerkaas and Hailey stepping up to clean up their pars. And it's high fives all around, and we'll move on to the final hole. With 1 to play, final round, Paige Bjerkaas still 3 under, Paige Pierce 2 under. And Hailey King's been holding on to that +5 for most of the back 9. Not a great front 9, but really held it together well on the back 9.
That is a fantastic shot from Cat. You can't really tell from the position here, but this fairway is just as challenging as the one on 17 minus the creek in the middle of it. You have a very narrow window to hit.
On a very steep uphill.
On a very steep uphill. If you hit anywhere you want to hit on to the player's left, if you hit to the right, it's just too obstructed.
And that's all the way to the top. And yes, like you were saying, it is so easy for things to go pear-shaped once off the fairway on this hole. King from the edge of the hill.
That's typical of Northwoods in general. Just one kick off the fairway and the potential for a double bogey is there.
Definitely. More so than other holes, it is really hard to recover well on this hole. If the tee shot goes poorly, it does not bode well.
Yeah, this in 17. They can be round killers.
Hailey King closing out with a par. And there's your results at the end of round 1. Come on back for round 2.